Hello and welcome to Full Tech Ahead. I'm your host, Amanda Razani, and I'm excited to be here today with Jamar Williams. He is the CEO and founder of Promo Drone. How are you doing?
I'm good, Amanda. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm excited. I'm in sunny San Diego, so life is pretty good right now.
Wonderful. Well, can you share a little bit about yourself and then Promo Drone? What do you do?
Yeah, for sure. I'm originally from Baltimore, but I'm living in San Diego currently, and it's actually where Promodrone is headquartered. So we started the company at the end of 2016, really started to figure out the concept of what we were looking to build in 2017. And we've gone from, seeing the industry be full of kind of clandestine drone operations where most people are using drones to capture content or for some data or surveillance, which is good. 99.9% of the time, the drone, operations are good, but people have fear of what they don't know or why it's there, right? So what we've done is we wanted to make drones more of a community friendly by being more transparent, more visible, and have a very clear understanding of why that drone's being used in a way that matters to them, right? So when we're flying what we call flying digital messaging boards, right? Electronic LED displays on a drone that can be for advertisements or fan-centric experiences at a stadium or a concert or festival, or for public safety, where those same drones are being used for road closure announcements, disaster recovery efforts, rally points, etc. So now drones are being used in a much more transparent, community-focused way, where it's with a clear understanding of how it can kind of have impact on what they do.
Fantastic. So that's interesting. It goes beyond the entertainment. You said this is really helping potentially save lives for missing persons. Now, can you share a little bit of, do you have any partnerships with like law enforcement in that regard?
Yeah, we have. So really our primary, even though it is a dual use technology, we're focused on the private sector first, right? Like really getting into major league sports, looking at getting into university, college sports, and becoming a part of a lot of the STEM opportunities as career in drones, as monetization of the drone industry really scales and grows over the next 10 years to, 200, $300 billion industry. Um, that's where kind of like our beachhead is. But because you can't really decouple large scale events from public safety with large crowd, experiences, we do have that opportunity. So we're actually participating next week at the Cochise Security Summit in Arizona with 100 Border Patrol plus agents there to demo our technology for its messaging capabilities for some of the support for law enforcement in that regard. And that's being hosted by our OEM partners, Dragonfly, who build our product and manufacture our current product for it. So we're excited about that.
That's fantastic. So share a little bit of, with our audience who may not be familiar. When you say that these drones are presenting messages, are they flying signs or are there lots of hundreds of drones making a message? Can you kind of explain?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. There's the configuration you mentioned in the ladder with multiple drones. That's more like a drone light show, right? Where it takes hundreds of drones, thousands of drones to create flying, three-dimensional perspective objects in the air, right? So those are more for pure entertainment value. Where our drones are literally flying, flying television, for lack of a better way to look at it, right? Like it's much more complex than that, but literally a flying video screen that can show videos, photos, scrolling text, the same type of sign you might see in Las Vegas as a digital sign or Times Square, where you can pack information onto it, but in a mobile, hyper-targeted way, and a little bit more simplistic of a presentation than something that would be necessary for a major billboard.
Okay, wow. So it's literally flying a digital screen. Is that heavy? I mean, how big are these drones?
Yeah, yeah. So I'll kind of answer two questions. One of your questions probably in advance, but in order to answer this question, so all of our drones are designed for what's called FAA Part 107 compliance, right? And that is the requirement of any drone operator needs to fly drones commercially. So if you're a drone operator and you want to make $1 flying a drone, you have to become Part 107 certified, right? So you go through your testing, you get your certificate, and then you go out and you fly until you have the skills necessary to do the jobs, right? Kind of deal. But those combinations put you in the category of being able to fly to make money. So the Part 107 certification. Now, within that Part 107, there are weight limits on drones that in order to qualify in that category. So anything 0.55 pounds up to 55 pounds is all under a flight category. So our drones are under 55 pounds. With the total payload, I think our takeoff weight is somewhere around 47 pounds for the entire package. That's the airframe, which includes the actual props and the actual mechanism that flies and that you can control. And then that includes the payload, which are the digital screens as well.
Fantastic. Let's talk about those, the regulations. And are there any specific regulations or laws that you have to adjust to depending on what you're doing or the event?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think the biggest thing that we get asked the most is like, how do you do this flying over people, all right, kind of deal. And the easy answer for that is we don't fly over people when operating these drones, right? Like you have to have a certain class of drone, and all types of air tests that collision tests that go into it. But so what we've done is we've built operational plans and deployment plans for our customers that buy our drones to say, here's how you deploy these things safely in environments where there's crowds. And then the FAA Part 107 also addresses that as well, right? So no flying directly over people. What we do is we have the drones located offset and, in green space, vendor areas, parking lots, over water features, or, sometimes we can just cord off or rope off an area, a drone zone that we make specifically for that launch of that operation. And some venue spaces already have space designated that's like, oh yeah, like for instance, Petco Park, they have a wiffle ball field within the stadium that has fencing around it. And we launch at Petco Park, we use that wiffle ball field because it's already pre-designated as a kind of a no-walk zone. And all we do is get everybody out of that area, close the gates, launch the drone, let it do its thing. People love it, land it, open the gates back up, people come right back in and have a good time, right? So it's we found ways to do this in compliance and to have it be effective at the same time.
Awesome. Well, I want to talk about how did you get into the drone world?
Yeah, it's an interesting series of yeah, it's crazy. So it's kind of, I've never in a million years that I'd be doing this, but I've always been a creative and kind of innovative person since I was a kid, right? I have a background in music production, and I see the world from the lens of connecting dots, whether it's words that make sense in order to tell a story or technology. So I have this kind of fantastical brain mixed with this kind of like mad scientist merge of things that, that shakes a box up and then creates these Frankensteins, a different version of Frankenstein, right? And every once in a while you get a really good Frankenstein. And my music was one, and then now the drone. So initially it's a hybrid between using videography for music videos to being introduced to drones as a new form to tell the story to saying, okay, music is cool, but like here's something new that I'm very interested in, the new Frankenstein. And then one thing leads to another, and you start building, and you add an arm here and a stitch and eyeball there and a thing here, and you got drones with flying screens on them, a couple years later. So that's how it works. That's how my brain works. And moving to San Diego from Baltimore was a huge part of that, being in a new environment, especially somewhere like Southern California that kind of promotes creativity and supports small business. So it's kind of the right opportunity, the right time, and the right mindset that just put me in the kind of collision course with destiny, I guess, with this stuff. So,
What is the drone entertainment industry looking like these days? Do you see it growing?
absolutely, it's interesting that you say that. I think what we're excited about is we're defining a new category for that, right? Of fan engagement, entertainment. Soon you'll see, movie trailers on our drones outside of activations for major theme parks or studios or brand properties, right? Outside of sporting events with starting lineup and things like that. QR codes that'll get you skip the ticket line and scan the drone and reserve your seats today from the drone or take a picture of the drone, tag a brand, and enter on Instagram and follow them on Instagram to win a promotional item from that brand sponsor. So really about where we see it going is not just putting images out there to capture the eye, dangling the keys, but having some sort of engaging opportunity that once you grab their attention, you lock them in and you have something that makes them feel good about the experience, right? So I think at the core of that's what entertainment's designed to do. And what I see just from advertising and entertainment, I think with the advent of things like AI, where you can generate advertisements pretty much for any brand, and it looks like it's done by a professional studio. It kind of breaks the mold of what you can do. It reduces the costs, so I'm seeing costs being reduced. And with drones specifically, it's gone from just cinematography to, again, things like what we're doing with the promotions, right? So a lot of it, mostly it's content capture, then the light shows. I think the biggest bridge is what we started with initially. it's what I've seen are kind of the light shows. We started before you really started to see a lot of light shows, but the light shows kind of grew quickly because they're just pure entertainment. But they kind of like walk so we can run a little bit more. We crawled so they can walk, and they walk so we can run, kind of deal, right? That's how we look at it, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing more public facing drone experiences that kind of push the boundaries of what people have come to expect from outdoor digital out of home, advertising.
Yeah, and that's interesting too that you mentioned the cost efficiency there, and the you would expect that it might be more expensive, but you're seeing the cost reduction.
In general, well, from in certain aspects, in terms of like the content capture, because the what's happening is there's so many people in that field now that it's creating more competition, so the pricing's gone down, so you have much more drone pilots. The drone light shows are more still a premium experience, right? Because it takes so much to organize that show, so they're more in line with the cost of fireworks, but that's to be expected in that field, right? So it's so pound for pound, it's still apples to apples. It's just that it's less air pollution, it's environmentally more friendly, and you can do more with it in terms of these shapes and designs for more of a spectacle. So pound for pound, you're providing a much more engaging experience, for a relatively comparative price for what they've come to get for, fireworks. So in a sense, you're getting more engagement at the same price, so you're getting more value, more value out of it long term. And then products like ours are direct ROI type investment where you're saying sponsors are buying ad space on a drone,
Mhm.
or a messaging opportunity, and that direct payment of that sponsor opportunity goes to, the pockets of the event organizer that's offering that technology. So we're driving more revenue, we're getting more fan engagement, and we're able to offload the off the on-site experience to the online experience, right? Which allows you to then engage people that weren't even at the event through stories and sharing of the event opportunity with the drone through some of those kind of like, oh, it's a drone. I've never seen anything like that, right? We have the privilege, I guess, of the luxury of being like an innovative catch your eye type of technology that lends to social media pretty cool, right? Like, look what I saw today, and kind of deal, right?
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
absolutely. Well, and I didn't even think about the environmental footprint aspect of it too. That was great that you shared that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. These are rechargeable batteries. Now, obviously, there's backstories to, well, what's it take to make a battery, and all that stuff, right? But at the consumer side, we're not sending puffs of smoke up in the air, with these things. So you can charge them up, send them right back in the air, and be out there all day without you know, uh, sucking gas and for the most part, right? But then you have other types of drone systems that do rely on some of that, but those are specialty things. They're smaller footprint, and usually what they're doing, even the drones that require gasoline or fuel or hydrogen or some sort of other alternate solution other than battery, um, the devices that would be used in their place would still be using gas in those cases, but these just use far less, right? So they're still even environmentally better than what the comparative option is in most of the cases.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody wanted, this is for somebody interested in getting into the drone business, what advice do you have for them? Where should they start?
Yeah, yeah. So what we're doing is trying to reduce as much friction of that process as possible, right? So when we started building a drone, we're like, build a drone, screens on it, people will get it, they'll buy it, and they'll grow out, start growing their businesses like nobody's business. And though the desire is there, we realize that people don't have the knowledge on how to go out and do it. So what we're doing is building a turnkey system for them, right? Like a drone advertising network is how we're branding it, where it'll connect drone operators that have our system to the events that need these types of technologies, in order to monetize, and the brands that are looking to be at those types of events. So if you're a brand in Wisconsin, you go through our portal, it's going to allow you to theoretically connect with an event in, New York, that's looking for sponsors. Typically, you would have no discovery mechanism for some of these that are, unless they're publicly broadcast and you're looking for them. So you'd have no way to, so now we're opening up more options for brands to be selectively in more places, which everybody wants to much more inventory. Traditional billboards are more limited because they're fixed assets and people buy them for long periods of time. So we're hyper targeted short bursts of opportunities that come up often, for the brands. The event organizers love it because then the brands come directly to them, than them having to go look for brands. And then that fuels the revenue opportunity for the drone operators to make money and go out, support the event, and everybody in that system wins. The first step, if you aren't a drone pilot, is to get your Part 107 and just start to build up your skills so you can become more comfortable flying more advanced drone systems like ours that weigh a little bit more, that might be a little bit more intimidating. Secondly, it's going to be reach out to us and and ask questions and see how you might be able to get started. Whether you're a brand agency, a marketing agency, a drone operator, or direct brand that might be interested in having some of this type of technology, reach out to us. Send us an email at info@promo-drone.co, or head our website at www.promo-drone.co as well. Drop a line and we'll help you figure out how to take that first step, I guess.
Wonderful. Well, if there was one key takeaway you could leave our audience with today, what would that be?
I would say, keep going, right? Like be in alignment with your authentic self, build things, right? Like at the end of the day, I look at the world as really being, you know, spun not just by, kind of centrifugal force, but also here on this planet by creators, right? Like the people that we're talking through, you're however many miles away, and we are connected, like you were sitting right here in my kitchen, like friends having a conversation, because somebody created that pathway for that to happen, right? Our homes, every device we have, our cars, infrastructure, somebody had to have a vision and say, instead of saying why not, like, why not me? Right? Why hasn't somebody done this? And instead they say, why haven't I done this yet? Right. So my takeaway or giveaway, and more so than a takeaway, it's a giveaway, right? It's like be a creator, build something, and then find a way for it to solve a problem that causes pain for people. And if you can bring reduce friction and pain in people's lives and build something creative, I think there's a pathway for you to find a meaningful way to leave something that may outlast you even. So
Wonderful. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
And thank you to our audience. Share what was the most interesting in the comments. If you have any questions, put those in the comments. And until the next podcast, have a wonderful day.